Hey, I'm getting a lot of questions about the 2-1 buy down, so let's talk about it. Tara Ryan here with Fairway Mortgage. The 2-1 buy down is a loan product where we can take funds and hold them as the lender and use those funds to offset the mortgage payment for the buyer to keep their payment lower for a certain period of time, either 1, 2, or 3 years. So the 2-1 buy down is the most common. That's where we are offsetting the payment for 2 years. In the first year, it's as if the rate is 2% lower. That's where the 2 comes from, the 2-1 buy down. The second year, it's like it's 1% lower. And then in the third year, it would go to the regular mortgage payment. So suddenly getting a lot more questions about this, but sometimes I'm getting questions about it when it's not really appropriate. All right. So remember the money used for the buy down. This really only makes sense if that money is coming from somebody other than the buyer. So if the lender is contributing, the agent might be contributing, or most often the seller is contributing, like a seller contribution, these funds that get put into an account and used to help the mortgage payment be lower for your buyer. It doesn't make a lot of sense to have a buyer do this with their own money. They might as well just keep the money in a savings account, right? And pull from it as needed. So it doesn't really do anything for them. It's not free money. It's not any kind of magic trick. It's really just using money from the seller to make the payment a little more attractive for the buyer to help a deal happen. Okay, let's give you some perspective. I quoted one today, a $600,000 purchase, 20% down, so the loan amount was $480,000. The 2-1 buy down cost $11,123. That's the exact amount of the interest savings, right, or the reduced payment for going 2% lower for 1 year and 1% lower for the next year. So that money would be held and then used to offset the payment. But it's a big deal, right? So on the 2-1 buy down in that first year, it saves that buyer $613 a month. So this particular client is like, I got to have a payment less than $4,000 or I'm not buying it. There was no way to get there at that loan amount at any interest rate. But the buy down allows us to get that payment below that target for the first 2 years, and that works for this buyer. Just for information purposes, if you were just doing a 1-year buy down, that is only $37.66. So definitely a reasonable amount to negotiate for from a seller, and that would save the buyer $313 a month for the first year. Just for completeness, there is a 3-2-1 buy down, but it is pretty expensive to buy it down for 3 years. That would cost $21,876. A little harder even in this market to get those kinds of funds. So we're most often seeing the 1-year or the 2-year buy down. If you have questions about this or anything else, let me know. We've got a really cool calculator we can send you where you can quickly plug in the loan amount and the interest rates and see how much you need to ask for from the seller. Or of course, we're happy to do it for you. As always, we're here to help.